Hello and welcome to the demo video for SyncDL. Specifically, this is the demo video for the portions of SyncDL that use the YouTube API. I will not be covering the other functionality of SyncDL because it is not relevant to this video and it would take a while. So this will just be the parts of SyncDL that actually use the YouTube API. So, firstly, I have a playlist here, and I already have the ordering of this playlist stored locally on my computer. Now, I did not use the YouTube API to do this because this is a public playlist, so I can get the ordering of this playlist without using the YouTube API. So I won't be going over the process by which I got the ordering of this playlist because it does not use the YouTube API. And again, to note, it's a public playlist, and this is also a playlist on my channel. Okay, so first thing, we are going to log in with Google using the OAuth verification, or the OAuth process. So to do that, if you run any command in SyncDL that requires the use of the YouTube API, it will prompt you to log in. So I'm just going to run this command, which we're actually going to be using later functionally. Right now we're just using it to prompt the login screen. Okay, so it gives you this page of information. So it first off notifies you that you should be using SyncDL that you installed via pip. Just to make sure that you have the correct version of SyncDL. Next, it asks you to read the terms of service. I will open that up right now, so here's the link. This is under the verified domain that I have for this project, and this is the terms of service. Likewise, it also prompts the user to read the privacy policy, which we have here. Again, on the exact same verified domain. And both of these are also the exact same as the ones that will come up on the actual sign in with Google screen. So let's close those for now. Now we can authenticate. So looking at this link has in it the client's ID for SyncDL's API client. And if we click on it, it'll actually bring up the screen to sign in with Google. So first you have to choose an account. So I'm going to choose my account. It then says that Google has not verified this app. This screen will not be here once Google actually verifies the API client for this app. So I will bypass it like so. Alright, so now it's asking us, will we like to grant SyncDL the permission to view and manage your assets and associated content on YouTube? So what SyncDL is going to do with this, I'll go through the entire process and go through all of the user data that is involved with it. So firstly, SyncDL uses this in the --push order command. And what this command does is it first gets the order of, or it gets the playlist item IDs of the playlist, and then it will compare that to what is stored locally. And if they do not match, it'll move the videos in the remote playlist such that they match the local playlist. So going through the user data that's involved in this, or specifically we could just go through the actual API calls. First it does that call to get the playlist item IDs. Those playlist item IDs are user data, and they only exist in the application during the runtime. They're not stored anywhere, locally or otherwise. And the moment that the application stops running, those are completely gone. So nextly, it does the calls to actually move the playlist items to the correct position. That doesn't use any user data. That's just making the calls. So, yeah. Lastly, of course, we have the credentials that you get from the sign in with Google. Those credentials are stored locally and they're encrypted. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to allow SyncDL to do this. And here we have the confirmation page. So firstly, we have the terms of service here, which I will open up. It's the exact same terms of service that you're prompted to read in the actual app, and it's on the exact same verified domain. Likewise, we have the privacy policy, which I'll open up now. So here's the privacy policy. It's, again, exactly the same as the one you're prompted to read on the actual, in the application. So we will allow SyncDL to do this. And we can close this page now. And as you can see, authentication completed. Now it did not, even though we ran the push order command, it didn't actually do any editing because the locally stored playlist and the remotely stored playlist are identical. But if we change that, so for example, I will take this video that's currently at index 0 and I'll move it down here. And just to confirm that I did actually move it, let's refresh the page. And as you can see, yep, it's still down there. Now if we run that exact same command that we used to log in, this time it won't prompt us to log in because I have the credentials stored locally. So if I run this, so we got pushing local order to remote, and then it moved song E to index 0. The reason why it calls them song is because this is designed to work with music playlists largely. So when I refresh this page, this video here should now be up here. And as you can see, it is. So works as expected. Lastly, I will show you the logout functionality of SyncDL. So this will request that Google revoke the access tokens that we got from this process. So the next time the user runs the app, they'll be prompted to log in again. And then it also locally deletes the credentials that were stored. So run syncdl --logout. When I hit enter here, and it logged us out. And we can actually check this because if we try to run the push order command again, we get the exact same login page. And if I click this, I would be prompted to log in the exact same way that we just did. So as a quick recap of all of the user data that is used during this process, so firstly, when the user is prompted to log in, when they go through the login process, SyncDL will get a credentials object that it'll encrypt and store locally. It is not sent anywhere, it is not stored on any other machine, it is exclusively stored locally in the actual project folder on your computer. Next, it will use those credentials to get the playlist item IDs, which will not be stored locally or remotely. The playlist item IDs are just kept during the execution of that command that you run. And the moment the command stops, all of that is completely gone. And it will use those to make calls to the YouTube API to reorder the playlist, as I showed before. Alright, so I believe that is everything. Thank you very much for your time.